Well, it's Saturday morning, and I thought this morning I would be doing the white 90 by fitting that pressure reducing valve. Unfortunately, it was supposed to come Friday, and it ain't turned up yet, so that's another week we haven't got it. And it's on my lift and I can't move anything. So what I did was, just to fill in a bit of time the other day, I rebuilt the steering box. Now, I didn't film it because we've done it so many times before. Nice box. It's the older type. How can you tell it's the older type? Because on here, instead of a ring round the spline, which I could really just take off and show you with my, because this is the tool I use for turning it round. Yeah. So you can see this is the older type. It's got a flat here. The newer ones have got a ring round. All right, so it doesn't really matter. It still does the same job. So one of the problems is fitting the seal. Now I know a lot of you go underneath your car and you eventually get the drop arm off, and you want to replace just the seal here. Of course you can, but the problem is it's getting over this spline here. Now the rest, the teeth, the top part of the teeth of the spline are not bad at all. You know, they're kind of flat, so they're not going to cut anything, but this bit will. You with me? That bit will cut. Now there exists from Land Rover Tools the proper tool for the job, as they always have, but at £159 I thought it was a little bit expensive. So what I used to do for these, go back to it, let's have another look. What I used to do for these is put some tape round here, which you can do if you're putting the seal this way, but it's jolly difficult to get the seal in to get it square, because there's a seal, there's a spacer, and then there's a snap ring to go in, a circlip. So in the book, going by the book, what it says, the selector shaft here you put in from this end with this special Land Rover tool round it. Now you have to think it's very thin walled, because it has to go through the bearings or the bushings, whichever it is. In this one it's bushings, and the later boxes it's bearings in there. So my problem when I used to do that was I put tape around it, but by pushing the shaft this way, it used to rip the tape off, push it up as it's going along, and then it used to bind up inside the seal. Well, that wasn't very a good idea either. So then I came up with this idea. This little cap goes across here, and you push it on like that. And what it does is it makes a nice rounded shoulder, but it's smaller in diameter than the diameter of the shaft, so it will go through the bearings and the bushings, but it protects it on this vital little bit here as you're pushing the shaft this way. Now it could also be handy when you're fitting the seal from that side. So how did I make it? It was really easy, and I'll tell you something, it's going to be a freebie, because when I got this stuff, it's shrink wrap, heat shrink. This stuff, 40mm heat shrink, very durable. But the problem is, although it's only $18 for a roll of 5 feet, which you don't really need, like I say, you only need a little bit. So what I'm proposing is that if you want to see this idea how it works, send me a stamped addressed envelope, like they used to do in Brother Peter. Send me a stamped addressed envelope and I'll put your piece in for free. So how do you make it? Oh, easy peasy. Let's go over and look at this shaft here, this knackered shaft that we've got in the vise. Alright, this is really bad here. So I'm saving this shaft up to have a demonstration with a speedy sleeve to see how it fits over the shaft. So, how does this fit? Wow. So we only need a bit this much. Right? Now it is 40mm, and you think, oh my goodness, look at that. It's terrible, it's like a pea on a drum, isn't it? So, get our torch. Now we want this halfway over the spline. See, there's a spline, we want it sort of around about halfway. When we warm it up. Now you have to keep moving it. And if by magic something on here. There you are. That's it. Look at that. You could, if you wanted to, make it a bit longer and cover these threads as well, but there's not really much point because the seal goes right over the top. Then so once you've fitted it, it will go straight on. Now I'm going to do an explanation about this with a bearing. Just wait a minute, I think I've got one. Now I'm going to just trim this down a little bit because it's still a little bit big. And you can just keep trimming it down. You see what I mean? And it's quite durable. But there you see, you want that to go over your bearing. Now did you see that? Let's do it again. So I've trimmed this down here, because if it's too long it makes it too wide at the bottom. So if you put your little protector on, just imagine this is in your steering box. When you push it on, slips on, no problem, slips straight through the steering box. So that's pretty neat, isn't it?